From the heart of SEC country, this is your daily fix of grit, guts, and gridiron glory. Welcome to the Deep South College Football Show.
College, here it goes! Georgia retakes the lead!
Breaking down the biggest matchups, the boldest takes, and the deepest rivalries in college football on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Intercepted! They confused him! Xavier Brown headed the other way! Touchdown Tide!
From Fayetteville to Gainesville, from the Grove to Toomer's Corner, it's SEC football.
Chambers delivers! Touchdown!
Now, here's your award-winning host, Wyatt Fulton.
Welcome in to another edition of the Deep South College Football Show right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports. We got the gentlemen hanging out with us here in the studio, Reed Karch, Whitman Clark. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Not too bad. Just glad Alabama's second fall scrimmage has wrapped up, and as each day goes by, we just get closer and closer.
Wyatt, I'm hot.
Yeah, it's a little miserable out there still.
The walk to class most years is a bit of a whoa kind of thing for the first week because I'm getting used to it. I've been walking around Tuscaloosa all summer. Makes going to and from class a little more manageable. I've got short walks. I'm just going pretty much from near the stadium to Reese Pfeiffer, so everything's nice. But it is really hot.
That it is. And it was hot out at Bryant-Denny Stadium earlier today as Alabama completed its second scrimmage of fall camp. What you got?
Some more news that from something that was taking place near Bryant-Denny Stadium today. I don't know how much this applies to, quite frankly, our listeners, but we're close to the university. I was leaving Reese Pfeiffer today, walking back across the Walk of Champions, and I hear a horde of the demographic that attracts Bama Rush every year. I look, I'm like, there's 150 girls screaming outside of Bryant. I'm like, is Joe Namath back in town or something? But I'm like, that doesn't make sense. They don't know who that is. And I keep getting closer. I couldn't see it. They were literally tackling some dude to the ground, it looked like. I have to walk past. I see these three girls just kind of like watching like they're at the zoo, just like, okay, what are we doing here? I'm like, hey, who is that? And they're like, so-and-so from Love Island. I'm like, checks out. So, couple celebrities in town today.
The future commissioner was on campus earlier today.
Was he really?
He was. Apparently, he decided to make a little pit stop in Tuscaloosa. I imagine he's probably watching that second scrimmage because, he does his intel as well. That would be one Mr. Josh Pate, who I've interacted with. I can't say friend of the program because he's never been on the program, but we're trying to fix that. We're trying to get that fixed. One day. That's going to be like a starstruck moment of like, oh my God, I've made it. I finally have Josh Pate on my show. I've done more than talk to him on the sideline in Baton Rouge and Athens, Georgia and whatnot. But even still, Alabama held their second scrimmage of fall camp earlier today as I'm still trying to put out my first story of the day from said scrimmage here. But gentlemen, did you guys hear the Kalen DeBoer press conference?
No, I have been busy getting educated today. So I didn't even know the scrimmage was happening. I had to walk to class and hear the whistles coming from inside to get reminded that it was today.
Reed, did you get to listen to the scrimmage at all?
Yes.
I think that answers yes, because you were with Christian.
Yeah. And I did have some notes Christian did point out that he didn't say too much, but he did give a few nuggets here and there.
I feel like that's normally how these press conferences go, right? It's like, okay, he's not going to give us a ton of stuff, but we do get to hear some things here and there. If you're able to kind of read between the lines a little bit there, then you should be able to kind of figure things out with how the quarterback, or with that, not just quarterbacks, but with how these competitions are going here at the University of Alabama. We're going to talk about the second scrimmage today here. We'll talk a little bit about what Coach DeBoer had to say to the media, to me and the rest of the media coalition out there at the stadium here just a couple of moments ago. Okay. Hello, Pete Nakos. Oklahoma and Brent Venables have agreed to a 6-year contract extension. The deal averages $10.5 million a year. So, hey, one of my favorite coaches at, a program that I've grown to respect and know I'd say pretty well with some of the guys that I know cover in Oklahoma, and the fact that Alabama's played Oklahoma the last couple of seasons. Good for Brent Venables. Good for him getting that major contract extension here. But the question on everybody's mind earlier today, quarterbacks. What's happening with the quarterbacks during this scrimmage at the University of Alabama? And it kind of got leaked a little bit, right? Chris Lowe of On3 Sports, Pete Nakos put out an article for On3 and, quote unquote, calling his shot on the quarterback competitions at a couple of different places. Well, Alabama was one of those places. And as you can see, Chris Lowe tweeted earlier today, he would expect Kalen DeBoer to name Keelan Russell the starter by early next week. He's been excellent this preseason and gives Alabama more playmaking ability at the quarterback position. Throws a really nice ball from Chris Lowe of On3. And this isn't, somebody in their mama's basement sitting here tweeting, it's Keelan Russell, it's Keelan Russell. It's not, it's not somebody sitting in their underwear saying Jet Tamala is going to win the job. Don't count out Jet Tamala. This is a national college football insider that was the guy who broke Nick Saban's retirement. He was, kind of Nick Saban's confidant during his tenure here in Tuscaloosa, and he's been all over the University of Alabama in breaking news. Hell, I think he was the one that broke Ty Simpson was going to be the starter last year. So Chris Lowe, back-to-back years, kind of tipping the hand that who Alabama's starting quarterback is going to be.
And look, no disrespect to Jet Tamala. There's a reason he had 5 stars beside his name when he signed on that dotted line. However, he's got just about as much luck or chance of starting week 1 as I did making the football team when I tried to walk on back in January.
That's fair.
For those that don't know, that have never seen me outside of what you hear on air, I am no freak of nature. I'm a little on the taller side, but I would not consider myself SEC ready. Quite frankly, I don't know if Jet Tamala is yet, but maybe we'll be in a couple years.
Jet Tamala is a great quarterback, and that wasn't a diss on him. That was just, he's a true freshman. He's competing
with 6'3" Bryce Young. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's not.
It doesn't mean you're a bum.
He's a true freshman. You're competing with a guy who's 6'6" and is a 4th-year guy in this system. Maybe not at this school, but in this system. And you're competing with somebody that I've been told is 6'3" Bryce Young in Keelan Russell. Like, no disrespect. Probably not going to win that job. And I know a lot of people say that about freshman quarterbacks, and Jalen Hurts did it as a freshman. Tua came in as a freshman and won a national championship. So, hey, look, if that is what happens, if this is the case, I'll happily be wrong. I will happily be wrong on that front, because I do think Jet Tamala is going to end up being a good quarterback. But Chris Lowe of On3 reporting that he expects Kalen DeBoer to name Keelan Russell the starter by early next week. And this is kind of the timeline that I've been operating on, right? I've kind of been operating on the timeline of like, okay, it's going to be, because this is how it typically works, right? The media, we are not allowed to talk to certain players, right? And Saban had this rule, right? No freshmen. So it doesn't matter if, I don't know, Xavier Griffin comes out and has 12 sacks this season at inside linebacker and 100 tackles. We don't get Xavier Griffin until, bare minimum, the absolute earliest we could get him is the college football playoff. That's it. So even if he's, freshman All-SEC, freshman All-American, is a candidate for some awards as a true freshman, nope, no Xavier Griffin. Can't get him. So we also can't talk to quarterbacks outside of a established starter. So if you go back and rewind your brain a little bit to last fall, we didn't talk to Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, or Keelan Russell at all through most of fall camp. No quarterbacks in spring, no quarterbacks over the summer, no quarterbacks through most of fall camp. And then Ty Simpson's named the starting quarterback. Boom, that next day on a Sunday night, that Monday, we go out and, hey, look, there's number 15. Let's go talk to Ty Simpson. So I imagine with the fact of those being the rules, and that's a rule at like 99% of schools. This isn't like an Alabama specific thing. Just most schools, you don't talk to quarterbacks if they're in the middle of a competition. The way I expect this to play out, Alabama scrimmage today, they're off Friday and Saturday. Sunday is practice. There's no media availability. It's just practice. Sunday, they'll probably announce the starter. this is my timeline. This is kind of how I'm viewing this, right? And it's very reminiscent of what Ty Simpson's timeline was, because Ty Simpson was named a starter on a Sunday night. Monday morning, they had practice, and we talked to Ty Simpson. Well, Sunday morning, they've got practice. Sunday night, I would anticipate an announcement. Monday morning, they have practice, and then we get to talk to players on Monday afternoon. So I'm anticipating a quarterback announcement coming probably, Sunday late afternoon, early evening.
Okay, because that's kind of what I was going to ask. Why it is just the fact of is
an
that
official
Sunday
announcement?
Yeah, like is that Sunday practice? Like, of course, I think I can kind of speak for all of us that we have a feeling that it's already been solidified. But is that kind of that last Sunday practice?
Hell, according to Corey and Christian, like it's been told.
Yeah. Well, my point being is like with that last Sunday practice, would that just be like the kind of the nail in the coffin kind of thing? Like after that's done, it's like, all right, we know for sure,
I think it's probably, this is how I would do it if I were a coach. And I have absolutely no clue if this is how it's going to work. I would probably go into that Sunday practice telling the coaching staff, so not the players, but telling, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, I'm telling Ryan Grubb, Brian Ellis, and the offensive coaching staff, hey, we're going to name Keelan Russell the starting quarterback. If it is Keelan Russell, we're going to name Keelan Russell the starting quarterback after practice, because we want to see how he does, still thinking he's in a competition, right? Sunday after practice, you're in that big team huddle, or you're about to start doing your 11-on-11, your good-on-good period of practice, and you say, first team offense, hey, Keelan Russell, you're in. And that's when everybody else on the roster is going to start to piece it together and say, okay, Austin's been leading this charge for most of fall camp. Now Keelan's the guy. Keelan's getting these reps with the ones. He got most of the reps with the ones today in the scrimmage. So I think the team has an inkling of who it's going to be. Sunday, when they do good on good and Keelan Russell's out there, they'll say, okay, yeah. And then in that big team huddle at the end of practice, that's when they'll name Keelan Russell the starting quarterback, and you'll get your Yay Alabama announcement about an hour later.
What are we? What was the countdown today, Wyatt? 15 days? No, not 15.
Today was 16 days. 16 days. Jalen Milroe to Kobe Prentice for a 16-yard touchdown against South Florida.
Are you telling me I'm 16 days away from watching Keelan Russell play football? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
You are 16 days away from watching Keelan Russell absolutely spin that thing against East Carolina.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. He looked pretty damn good in practice when I was out there, but the video that blew up on Twitter.
I got to watch the lines here on this board, make sure I don't get too loud, because I will get fired up, getting excited about watching my new favorite number 12.
Who was your favorite number 12?
4-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP, greatest throw of the football God ever did create.
Oh, I thought you were talking about college level, and I was like, no. I'm sure there's been somebody between now and then, but when I hear the number 12, the first player that immediately comes to mind is Greg McElroy, national champion in 2009, and it was like,
not quite.
I was like, okay,
not quite.
Kind of odd, but you know what? Hey,
not quite.
I get it, man. First national champion under Nick Saban at Alabama.
Maybe if I was from here,
was on the roster in that BCS national championship. Somebody had to hand it off to Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson, right?
Might as well have been old G-Reg.
No, it's not G-Reg. It is
wrong Greg.
Wrong Greg. All right. We'll continue to get into more scrimmage intel. I also want to talk about defenses in the SEC, picking some of the best defenses around the Southeastern Conference here. We'll do that here as we are off and running on a Thursday edition of the Deep South College Football Show right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. Welcome back into the Deep South College Football Show here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. A couple of other notes from the scrimmage here. Freshman running back Trayshawn Brown. The problem with the University of Alabama is that when you try to make a player comparison to the way that a guy like his playing style is, you're comparing him to an all-time great. You're comparing him to an NFL first-round draft pick. I'm not saying this guy is going to play to this level. I'm not saying he's going to be a first-round draft pick. But from what it sounds like, freshman running back Trayshawn Brown is kind of playing like a Josh Jacobs. And we all remember how good Josh Jacobs was in Tuscaloosa. Again, not saying that he's a first-round draft pick as a running back.
He plays mean.
Yes.
Plays mean.
Yes, he plays
his legs
mean.
Don't stop.
They don't. I mean, that kid, He was a 3-star recruit from the state of Texas. Our friend in Louisiana loves to tell us how good the state of Texas high school football is because our current,
and he's not wrong.
He's not. But our probable starting quarterback in Tuscaloosa is also a 5-star from the state of Texas, playing at one of the best schools in the country for high school football in Duncanville. So, you can find some gems playing high school football in Texas.
Fair to say a 3-star in Texas would be comparable to a 4-star, a high 4-star somewhere in Idaho, or an average 4-star in South Carolina, or
I'd say
Texas,
an average 4-star in the state of Alabama. And Alabama's no pushover.
I'd say probably low to mid 4-star grade in Bama.
Yeah.
Texas is just because
loaded.
You've got if I had to assume, I'd say California top end.
California and Florida are typically those top ends.
The Mater Days, the IMGs, the St. John Boscos, the St. Francis's out of Maryland.
Texas
those
is up there too, yeah.
But Texas makes all their money through those ginormous public schools like Allen High School that has a high school football stadium comparable to real G6 teams.
I'd argue comparable to some low-level P4 teams.
It's kind of maybe a version of Davis Wade Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, they're not seating 100,000. They're probably not even seating, 60,000.
One moment.
But these jokers probably have stadiums that hold 20, 30,000 kids, and they pack these things out. Now, granted, your big schools in other areas, like a Buford, Georgia,
18,000 at Allen.
Okay, but even still.
That's right. A lot of people for high school football, man.
It's different down there in the state of Texas. So the fact that Alabama's got a kid like Trayshawn Brown who is playing like a mini Josh Jacobs is phenomenal for Alabama. And that may be another guy that they found as a 3-star and said, yeah, come to the University of Alabama. You're going to have to put in the work because you don't have that notoriety, that hype coming out of high school that maybe an Xavier Griffin did, right, as a 5-star guy, or an EJ Crowell as a 5-star guy. But you've got some talent. You've got something there. You've got the work ethic to go along with the talent. And it looks like Trayshawn Brown is getting some of those reps now. He was kind of splitting some time with the first-team offense alongside Kevin Riley. So I know in spring and early fall camp, I was talking about, hey, don't get out over your skis on this. Don't start leaning too far, because you may end up face planting by projecting a true freshman to go out and play a lot of meaningful snaps for Alabama. But even still, seems like the skis are starting to move a little bit here. And I know I'm using skis to talk about Texas high school football, but seems like these skis are starting to move a little bit. We can lean forward a little bit more now.
And I'll maybe describe the play style of Josh Jacobs instead of saying he's playing like Josh Jacobs to help tamper some of the expectations that come with a player comp like that. Hard to tackle.
Got some wiggle.
Hits heavier than he is, but moves lighter than what he is.
Yep.
Great pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yep.
Good vision. And will not fumble the football.
Ball security is one of the biggest things for this Alabama coaching staff right now. And I think when you look at what Trayshawn Brown brings to the table, he's somebody that, again, London Simmons last season, right? He was a 3-star out of the state of Mississippi, and he ends up starting the first couple of games. He was maybe thrust into those roles a little early, maybe because of some injuries, right, to Jeremiah Beeman and Tim Keenan. But as the season went along, Alabama got Tim Keenan back, and other guys started to emerge along that defensive line. London Simmons still got some pretty significant reps on the interior of that defensive line for Alabama. Latsier Brooks, right? A 3-star from New Jersey. But even still, he shined for Alabama. He's shown for Alabama, especially late in that playoff game against the Oklahoma Sooners. All right, our phone lines are lit up right now. So let's go ahead and jump out on the phone lines here. We will start with our buddy Jeff in Tennessee. Jeff, how you doing, brother? Jeff, you there? Going once, going twice. Jeff, we'll put you back on hold, and we'll see if we can get you back on the phone lines here. Let's head on down to Louisiana, and let's talk with the resident Texas fan, Digger in Louisiana. How you doing, man?
Very nice. Very nice. As hot as Hades. I'm with you. Whew. Lord, when you're wearing a suit and it's 100 degrees, oh, Lord. Real quick, let me put this in perspective for you.
Okay.
Allen High School, you know what the student body is for Allen High School?
Can't say I do.
6,000.
Wow.
Think about 6,000.
That's a lot of kids.
They have a band. You know how many school buses they use?
5.
27.
Holy.
Yeah. High school, Allen High School, look, a lot of pride in that high school, boy.
Damn.
If you're not on the football team, you're in the band. Or you're on the
Wow.
dance team, the flag corps. They're all coming when it comes to it. And that's, you got to put it in perspective. That's what they think of Texas high school football.
I mean, it's
It's not an
phenomenal.
event. It's a religion. They insist on it. And boy, when they were talking about throwing college football on a Friday night, they went ballistic.
Yeah, I heard there was a lot of
Don't come
pushback
here.
on that.
Do not come here. Don't go there. You go play with the NFL. This is our night. So
Yeah.
I get it. So that's why you have a 3-star in Huntsville that's doing exceptionally well. You know who else with the 3-star? Wisner. You'll get a good taste of him when Florida State comes rolling in.
Trey Wisner, yeah.
And he's considered a legend at Texas, man.
What was CJ Baxter? What was CJ Baxter? Because Baxter went to Kentucky, so Alabama's gonna have to face Baxter and Wisner in back-to-back weeks.
Well, the problem with Baxter is that he blew out a knee and he became a ninny. He got him a white girlfriend. And, he was just not the same after that. So, I mean, I'm just saying, he's gone soft. He's going to have to prove himself all over again in Kentucky. So, that's all.
Okay.
I'll let you go. I love your listen. By the way, I know y'all are slamming all these podcasts and the little ass clown in the basement in his underwear saying that he knows everything about Alabama. Okay, I get it. But you can say the same damn thing when 2 o'clock rolls around when you got the Confederacy of the Bama Gum Dunces playing on that school line there. So, I mean, they call in there saying they're going to be 12-0 and they got an elite defense. It's going to be the top 3 in the nation. Come on. You don't know that. You don't. You can use your professional opinion, quote unquote, professional opinion, but you won't know until game 2. So
That's true.
Run it by me and let me see what you think. Bye.
All right. That's our friend in Louisiana right there. Wow. That was a lot to learn.
I wanted to know how much that suit he was sweating through cost. That's what I was going to ask him before he hung up.
Yeah. Wow. That was a lot to learn there. But no, I mean, I said this last year after the Florida State loss. There were a lot of glaring issues against Florida State. And when Alabama played ULM, a lot of people were saying, hey, I want to see this. I want to see that. And I come on the air here and I say, y'all, it's freaking ULM. They're going to beat them by 70. And they
saw
did.
It. 73.
Yeah. We saw everything that we wanted to see from Alabama against
if you
ULM.
wanted to see something that week, you saw it.
You saw walk-on wide receivers catching touchdowns in that game. So I come on the air that week and I go, hey, look, whatever the hell happens against ULM, pump the brakes. Calm down. Because it's ULM. Hell, I think Whitman, we may have to go back through the archives, but I think I even said the next week against Wisconsin, that's a bottom feeder Big Ten team that was not good last year. So even if you see it against Wisconsin, pump the brakes.
I think
don't start crowning Heisman Trophy winners after you beat ULM in Wisconsin. Okay, let's wait till we get to Athens.
Everybody said after that Florida State game, like, yeah, you want to see ULM limp out. You want to see Wisconsin not want to come back. But pretty much everybody I spoke to, both on campus and through our phone lines and just what I saw on social media, was I don't give a rat's behind what they do against the Badgers. I want to see what they do against the Bulldogs.
Fair. It's a fair assessment.
Ty Simpson started to break away in the Heisman race.
And that was a fair assessment. But I'm going to say the same. Everything I said leading into ULM last year is the same thing I'm going to say leading into East Carolina this year. I don't give a rat's blank about what we see against East Carolina. It is East Carolina. Nothing matters what they look like in that game.
9 wins, man. 9 wins. Wait. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 9 wins and new coordinators, brand new quarterback, brand new offense. Yeah,
He kept the head coach.
Cool. It's
Man,
East Carolina.
All right, man. I got a buddy that goes to ECU. Sometimes he listens. I like to let him know that we're still thinking about him, even though it will be a long, hot day for his Pirates.
That's cool. I got a buddy that goes to Rutgers.
Tell him I said sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It's East Carolina week 1. Whatever the hell happens against East Carolina, I'm putting no stock into it. They could run for 230 yards in that game and throw for 400 in the same game.
So what
Doesn't
game?
matter.
What game are you willing to say? Okay, that's what I needed. Is it as early as week 2?
It is as early as week 2 because
Okay.
week 2 is the spot where we've notoriously seen Alabama struggle in the last 2 years. New head coach, great offensive play caller, a lot of unproven talent with Kenny Minchie, CJ Baxter, Nick Anderson, and the crew in Lexington. And it's a road game against an inferior opponent that is going to be unranked. We now have an AP top 25. Kentucky is not ranked in this thing.
And they won't be after week 1. God,
No.
where have I heard that before? Kalen DeBoer goes on the road to a team he should beat after a big win.
Where have we heard that story before?
You know, wherever you're watching that week 2 game, something tells me you may have bought that entire couch. You're only going to need the edge of it.
Yeah, you're only going to need the edge of that couch. Now, if Alabama comes out, if Alabama comes out and puts just belt to backside on Kentucky and beats them by 50, okay, now I'm starting to feel a little bit better about Alabama. I'm starting to feel better because that's a spot where they've slipped up multiple times before.
Well, realistically, how much stock goes into week 3?
I think
Because
a little more
there's
goes
an argument for.
I think a little more does go into week 3, though.
There's an argument for the, people always talk about in politics. Everybody, like 80% of everybody's normal. It's the 10 over here and the 10 over here. Bama fans notoriously have that 10 on either side.
Correct.
And there will be that 10% will not say, I don't care what happens until Georgia comes to town. There will people that say, like, our season doesn't start until the Bulldogs.
And that's okay. Like, that is okay. Because your schedule is set. I'm not in that 10%. If I see them come out and put belt to backside on Kentucky, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. They come out the next week and do it again to Florida State in a revenge game, fresh off the heels of a quote-unquote big win. Okay, I'm feeling even better about that. Then you do it to South Carolina, a team that is very, very talented and a team that has had your number without actually having your number over the last 2 years. Okay, now I'm feeling if they come out and do exactly what they should, I'm starting to feel pretty confident going into the month of October. That October 3rd game against Mississippi State, yes, I'm nervous still because Starkville's weird, but I'm feeling better. And then if they go out and put belt to backside on Mississippi State at whatever high noon in Davis Wade Stadium, now I'm really confident going into that game against Georgia here in Tuscaloosa. And God forbid they start 6-0 because that 6th win would be Georgia.
Man, I will be a pain for anybody not cheering for Alabama that listens to this show.
God forbid they start 6-0. God forbid a sophomore quarterback that's played in 2 games in his collegiate career. By that point, he'll have played in 7 total. At 19 years old, beats Georgia.
Yeah, because we got a couple callers that maybe not the biggest Bama fans. Our friend from Louisiana, not the biggest Bama guy. I know
Our
Jeff,
friend in Tennessee,
not the biggest Bama homer ever. Let the Tide start 6-0. I'm gonna be everybody's least favorite problem.
I was gonna say you're gonna be a problem.
Undefeated going into Neyland Stadium.
You're gonna be a problem. You're gonna be a problem.
I hope to God our reach touches Knoxville that week for some reason, and I hope they all listen.
2 years ago they called into the show after they beat Alabama. So hey, maybe you guys are still hanging around. If so, hi everybody.
I
welcome
welcome
in Knoxville.
you. I challenge you. Show me what you got. Come say hey to your buddy Whitman.
hello everybody in Knoxville, Tennessee. If there's a reporter listening, can you give us some intel on who's starting between George McIntyre and Faison Brandon? Because I'd love to be able to actually, talk about that matchup and talk about more than just the fact that, hey, Tennessee's going to wear orange and Alabama's going to wear red. But regardless here, scrimmage intel, we're moving past scrimmage intel now. Jaira Edwards did really, really good things with some of the first team defense. True freshman safety, 5-star from Maryland. Derek Meadows had a really good day. The offensive line communication was much, much better than I think what it was last week. And the run game was significantly better. Trayshawn Brown, Kevin Riley, Daniel Hill, they did some really nice things here in this scrimmage. So we'll take our next time out. I think we still got Pat on the phone line, so we'll talk with Pat here in the next segment. But I want to get to these SEC defenses next, right here on the Deep South College Football Show. Welcome back to the Deep South College Football Show. Let's jump out of the phone lines one more time and let's talk with our buddy Pat here in Tuscaloosa. Pat, how you doing, brother?
Lang, I'm sorry. I agree with you 100%. Keelan Russell will be your starting quarterback, and definitely will be the starting quarterback by the time we play LSU. But I'm excited about the way the offensive line seems to have performed today from what little bit I've been able to catch here, there, and yonder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a fantastic year because if we can get just a grade B, just a B as in boy, out of this offensive line, and the way the defense is going to be able to play, because they're going to make these D-backs are going to look fantastic, because this front seven is going to put pressure on everybody we play. And I really think that the Final Four of the playoffs is definitely where we're going to be. And we're going to play for it, who knows? But, hey, we're making a Final Four. That Coach DeBoer deserves a raise. What do you think?
Well, he got one last year.
I'm talking about if he makes the Final Four, we're going to have to.
You're just saying screw it. Re-up that. Go ahead and re-up that contract.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I really think he's the man. He's got it, but hey, just like Coach Bryant always surrounded himself with Eagles. Do you understand? Coach Bryant had Jackie Sherrill. He's had some of the finest coaches that ever walked the sidelines. Were Coach Bryant's disciples, for lack of a better terminology. When you surround yourself with Eagles, you're going to soar.
That's the hope. That's the hope.
Sense?
No, it does. That does make sense, and that is the hope for Alabama this season. Even though it's probably going to be Keelan Russell, and I do think him being named the starting quarterback elevates that Alabama ceiling this season, just simply because of what he brings to the table. I still encourage everybody, hey, pump the brakes. It maybe not 9-3, maybe start leaning a little bit more into those 10-2 with an 11-1 ceiling. But he's a young kid. He's gonna have to grow up pretty quickly when you look at the teams. I know I said East Carolina's not anything to sneeze, or not something to really sneeze at, but you got to go on the road to Lexington, and they've really struggled in those spots. You got Florida State that beat you last year.
Let's go back to Texas just a second. Hey, they call it Texas Hold'em. That means, hey, we've already held my grandkids back to where they're going to be, because they're 19 years old when they graduate. It gives a kid, and everybody in Texas does it, and they have a new term for it down there. They call it Texas Hold'em. And that's why you see this running back. Hey, I guarantee you, this running back is 17 years old, like Ryan Williams. Guarantee you that. What do you think?
I don't know how old the kid is. All I know is the kid plays good football, and he's probably going to get some meaningful reps for Alabama. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's going to start against East Carolina, but I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at the box score after the game, or we come out of that game and we say, holy hell, 17's got a different gear. And so I think there is a really good opportunity for him this upcoming season to really establish himself as somebody that they can trust. And then you go into 2027 with EJ, AK Deer, Trayshawn Brown, and if you can retain Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley, not to mention somebody's going to leave that room. I don't know who, and I don't
Okay.
you don't encourage injuries and transfers. But
All
you're
right,
bringing in two guys in 2027.
Yeah. Y'all were just talking about football stadiums down there that held 18,000. Hey, that ain't nothing compared to what South Alabama did. South Alabama down with Bryan High School. Bryan High School plays Murphy down at People's Stadium down in Mobile and fills it up to the brim. Couldn't stomp another person in there. Right at 28,000 people watched the football game in Alabama.
Yes, but that's in a college stadium, though, Pat. That's being played in a college stadium. This is a high school team with a high school campus on their campus.
I know, but whenever Coach Russ Prost was at Alma Bryant, they set 13 to 14,000. That's all they could get in the place. They set that many every Friday night. There was nobody left in the town. All the police was at the football game. It was time to rob it. They set 13, 14,000 at Bryant every weekend when Rush Prost was there.
Maybe they did. But I know at Lad Peebles, that's not a place I wanted to get caught after dark. That's not a place. Pat, I did not populate Lad Peebles Stadium after dark.
I promise you, you're extremely right. And that's why they've moved all those games. Have been moved to USA campus.
Hancock Whitney Stadium now on the campus of South Alabama, home of the Senior Bowl, by the way.
Yep, saying. All right, have a blessed day that the mayor down there can't clean that mess up. All right, have a blessed one, sir.
We appreciate you, Pat. That's Pat in Tuscaloosa on the phone lines right there here. Again, we have to take a timeout, which means that we, got to wrap up the loose ends on the other side. You know what? Tomorrow's show is going to be fully dedicated to these defenses in the SEC because these defenses are going to be some of the best in the country, and I want to talk about them. So we'll do that tomorrow, I guess. We'll wrap up the loose ends here next on the Deep South College Football Show, Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. Welcome back into the Deep South College Football Show. I guess we've got – how much longer we got left in the program here? Because I can't do math. 6 minutes? Would be 5, but Jaden Daniels would send us a cease and desist.
We want to get out at 1:59. You've got 5 minutes, 50 seconds.
5 minutes and 50 seconds, just
Let's
under
get to
6
work.
minutes left here. You know what? Screw it. Let's talk about these defenses here. Whitman, give me what you think is going to be one of the top defenses in the SEC this season.
One of? Shallow answer? Let's stay close. Venture over into that defensive backfield with a preseason first-team All-American, another 3-4-year starter in Keon Sabb. What about the best cornerback duo in the country? Xavier Brown on one side, freak of an athlete, 6'5". Very versatile cornerback in Dejon Lee, opposite of Mr. Brown. Red Morgan in there playing some nickelback. Jaira Edwards, Jordan Edmonds coming off the bench. Ivan Taylor. I mean, that secondary, they're going to pick some balls off. They're going to hit some people hard. They're going to swat some passes down, and they're going to let you know that they're doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be one of the better defenses in college football. I would say they've got a ceiling of being a top 5 defense when, especially again, you look at that secondary starting with, you got to start with Bray Hubbard and Xavier Brown, 2, preseason All-Americans, 2 preseason All-SEC guys. Dejon Lee was a superstar as a freshman last season for Alabama. Red Morgan's a guy that, has played a lot over the last 2 years and is officially getting kind of his reps and ready to go as a full-time starter now. And you mentioned Keon Sabb, very versatile piece of this secondary. And
underrated.
Yet he seems to be the guy that everybody forgets about.
So underrated. I mean, he's just surrounded by ball players. You could kind of remind him of like why people don't think Draymond Green's a Hall of Fame basketball player. Well, that's because he was setting picks for Steph Curry and, and tagging off Klay Thompson on defense and heading over into the corner to watch Kevin Durant size somebody up at the free throw line. I mean, it's not Keon's fault by any means.
No, it's not his fault by any means. And I even look at the rest of this secondary, right? Behind Xavier Brown, you've got Chuck McDonald, who's a massive cornerback. He's a very bulky corner. Going to be physical at the line of scrimmage there. Carmelo O'Neal, do not sleep on this kid. The Mercer transfer there, do not sleep on him because he is probably the biggest defensive back in this room, which is saying something when you've got guys like Dijon Lee running around there. Xavier Mincy as well. I expect a lot of these guys. You're going to see a large number of these players see the field, not just week one either, in a probable blowout against East Carolina. Dre Jr., he's had 2 pick sixes in back-to-back scrimmages here in fall camp. He's kind of righted the ship.
I wanted to harp on Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. If that young man can stay hungry, obviously if he can stay out of trouble with the way that we saw him hit people last year in limited action, if you give him another year in the weight room, you give him a year of not playing a lot as a young guy who wants to be on the field, wants to represent the last name and what it means in Tuscaloosa, that is a name to watch out for if a guy like Red Morgan gets banged up or if a Keon Sabb can't quite go 1 week. You may see Dre Jr. come up and turn a lot of heads with the way that he plays football.
And I'm gonna circle one guy right here, Jaira Edwards, number 10. He's currently projected 3rd behind Bray Hubbard and Ivan Taylor, but he was getting reps with the first team defense today. This is somebody that it's going to be, I don't want to say damn near impossible. It's going to be hard as hell to keep that kid off the field, though. He is going to be a freak of nature for this Alabama defense. And even looking past 2026, right, into 2027 and beyond, okay, let's start doing some numbers here, right? Keon Sabb's out of eligibility. He's gone. Bray Hubbard, he's probably going to go. Xavier Brown, probable first-round pick. He's out of here. So this secondary, you're probably going to have, Chuck McDonald and Carmelo O'Neal competing for a starting spot at corner. By the way, Jordan Edmonds, former 5-star out of the Peach State. Xavier Mincy, Red Morgan, Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. going to be competing at that nickel spot there, that Husky position. And then Jaira Edwards and Ivan Taylor. Ivan Taylor's so good right now, the son of Ike Taylor, by the way. He could start at probably 90% of other colleges right now as a sophomore, as a true sophomore. He's on Alabama's 2 deep. So this secondary might be the deepest in the country. And obviously, in Tuscaloosa, we know all these names, but for those outside of Tuscaloosa, you're going to get out there, week 3 against Florida State and be like, who the hell is number 13 on defense? Who the hell is this guy? That's the son of Pittsburgh Steelers legend Ike Taylor, Ivan Taylor.
And just for those, this could reiterate, June, July, the entire conversation around Kalen DeBoer was, why did the recruiting fall off? The reason Bama won't sign a top 5 class this year is because of Jaira Edmonds and Jordan Edwards, Jaira Edmonds coming back, Ivan Taylor coming back. Flip it. I know. I'm going to confuse them till they graduate.
Jordan Edmonds, Jaira Edwards, Ivan Taylor, Dre Jr., Xavier Mincy, Carmelo O'Neal, Chuck McDonald, Dijon Lee, Red Morgan.
That's why Bama is not going to pull another top 5, top 6 class. 47 out of 48 players signed in the last 2 cycles are still on this football team. In today's age, that is something that you could probably only say about a couple of programs, one being a Kirby Smart run program over in Athens, Georgia.
Damn right.
Bama and Georgia, they want to recruit high school. They want to keep their guys out of high school because, one, they develop better knowing that they've had their eyes on them since they got here. It's a little cheaper. The relationship's a little easier to maintain. Seems to me like it's a good program to stick by.
Couldn't have said it better myself, and I won't because we're out of time here on the Deep South College Football Show. Defensive line, Devon Tompkins, Terrence Green, going to be studs. Kedrick Bingley Jones, the Mississippi State transfer, if he can stay healthy and, keep going the way that he needs to, they'll be fine. Yanze Pierre, menace. That'll do it for us today here on the Deep South College Football Show. Coming up next, the game with Ryan Fowler from 2 until 6 on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. That'll do it for us today on the radio, on the YouTube stream as well. We're going to get into the rest of the defenses in the SEC. Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, Ole Miss, LSU. We're going to get into all of that tomorrow here on the Deep South College Football Show. Until then, everybody stay safe. My name is Wyatt Fulton. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate every single one of you. We've been growing. I know I had talked about, being on a potential path to 100 subscribers, and we're at 145 right now. So I want to say big thank you to every single person that likes, comments. If you disagree with us, drop us a comment. We'll address it on the show right here on the Deep South College Football Show. Until tomorrow afternoon, my name is Wyatt Fulton. Everybody stay safe and God bless.